Okay guys, welcome back. So this is a first for the channel, which is fairly rare considering we're 220 something videos in. We've never tested wedge specific shafts.
We have not. We've been asked about it a lot.
Yep.
We've been asked in the comments a ton of times, what shafts should I have in my wedges? Should it match my set? Heavier, lighter? It gets asked all the time. So we are lucky enough now to have the adjustability, or sorry, the interchangeability on the shafts and wedge heads. So we thought we would kind of start with an experiment. I guess this would be more to say, here's our initial findings of how these shafts are going to play in a certain wedge head.
For sure. So, you know, generally looking over this, big shout out to our guys, our build team, Mikey and Greg, for overcoming the challenges that go with building interchangeable wedges. That's very difficult because trying to make a system that, as hosel lengths vary, taking a set shaft and make it play the exact same length, you know, when you're dealing all the time with different length hosels, it's very difficult to standardize the length of the golf club. So obviously, you know, head weights and all that sort of stuff, the weight of the adapters, it was a real challenge for them to kind of build it where it will play exactly as the finished product will, but
that's great.
They've managed to do it. So kudos to the boys for that. They've done an excellent job. What this is going to allow us to really establish is, does it really matter changing shaft to shaft with whatever wedge head that you like? Wedges have, like many other things in golf equipment now, it is pretty much regulated, standardized to the point where the face roughness has been maxed out. The groove width, sharpness, all those sort of groove depths sort of things has been kind of maxed out. There's not really much else you can do to the face of a wedge to extract more performance. The reality is, it's all about personalization and customization and getting the wedge to play the best way that it can for you so you can make a better pass at it.
So more about sole design, grinds,
all
and
that
shaft choices, obviously.
Although all those variable custom elements that, you know, we look at here at TXG and kind of other fitting stores look at as well.
Okay, so we are going to start with a few with my wedge, just to get
some baseline. Just
baseline of what I guess a good performing wedges, because obviously you fit these for me, so we know that they're a good fit. And then we will dive into an interchangeable head with 3 different weight and profile shafts, and just start to see what kind of differences we see in strike and I guess ball flight.
What I'd love to do as well along the way is actually hit. I'd like to hit 3 different shots with it. Just to see if it changes at different distances. So why don't we do something like 50, 80, and then full sand wedge for you is about what, 115-ish?
About that,
So why don't we try that? And then you know, the variances, we'll see if they show up. That when you obviously swing one a little bit slower, does a particular shaft influence the delivery or the the contact to bring out a different result?
Because that's part of when you fit wedges, you ask people, do you hit full shots with this or not, or do you only hit half shots? So that's part of the reason why.
It is, exactly.
Okay. So a Vokey 54. This is a Nippon 130. So a couple full ones to start?
Yeah, a couple of full ones to start, Matty. Nice swing. Very good. Oh, he nearly holds the first one.
That's all right.
Very nice, very nice.
Pretty similar. 29, 11,000 seems to be
anything sub 30 in launch angle means that you've struck it well enough that it's pulled the flight down. And obviously for you, spinning around 11,000 is a really nice sand wedge for you.
That's hit thin.
That's okay. I mean, that's
not a bad result though.
Pretty good result for that. Launch will come down a bit, spin has come down with it. So let's hit 2 more.
Okay. That's it well. It's amazing the ones that I guess feel good and I think are good shots have exactly the same numbers every time.
right. Pretty good. Right, so 29 launch, 11,090 spin, coming in at about 100 feet, very consistently peaking at 100, which is good.
It's about what you look for in sandwich kind of thing in terms of numbers.
Be really nice. Let's dial this back a little bit. So let's go, let's hit a little partial swing.
80 yards.
So 80 is the total number, so 75 will be about our fly number.
Okay.
Pretty close.
It's close, it's a little shy.
It's interesting to see, obviously completely different shot.
Yeah, same launch.
Exactly the same launch.
That's interesting, eh?
It's a baseline number for wedges that a lot of people need to pay more attention to. They can really establish whether it's a well-struck wedge shot, whether their clubs or ball are performing correctly, as long as they use that launch number as their baseline.
So you want something between what, 28 and 31 or something like that?
You'll be striking it really nice if you're 28 to 30. Anything higher than that, you're probably mishitting it slightly.
Mishitting it, okay. Should go a little further.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, spinner.
That's got some zip.
Yeah, I mean you can see it there. So slightly better strike there. Launch dropped down, spin spiked up 1200.
That should be quite good as well.
Interesting. Well, you can see how aggressive you can now be with this shot because you've got that launch and spin right where you want it.
Yeah.
You can fly this almost up to 77 yards here.
With the right kind of green that's receptive enough, I guess, yeah, you could, right?
For sure.
Okay. You want to see one more?
Yeah. Okay. This will be interesting.
I don't think I struck that well.
I didn't think that was quite as well hit. Just on cue, there's my point.
3 degrees more because I kind of fatted it.
Yeah, you'll stray slightly higher in launch, slightly less in spin if you don't quite get the same contact, but it's still pretty good performance.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, good. Right,
Really
let's hit a few.
This is you over here.
Let's hit a few different ones now. We've went with 3 completely different wedge shafts.
Right.
Just as guys, this is our starting point for this video. This is not the fitting video, or
no.
We'll get to that stuff, but this is the general overview video. So we're going to take a standardized head at 54 degrees aloft, exactly what you were hitting right there. We're going to do a Nippon 105, Project X LZ 120, and then pretty much the gold standard of wedge shafts in our industry, the Dynamic Gold S400.
Which is about 130-ish.
132 grams.
Right.
That's really what I would say a lot of good players, a lot of the companies are using kind of S200, S300, S400 wedge shafts as stock options. So whether it's one of those weight categories, and that's the biggest difference, the 200 is lighter, the 300 is a bit heavier, the 400 is the heaviest.
Right.
It's mostly a weight thing.
Right, so the actual profile of these shafts is similar in terms of the way they flex, but the weight is different.
Correct.
Okay. So Nippon 105 to start.
Yes.
Pretty good start.
Sounded nice.
Yep. That was good too.
Yeah.
It's a good one. There's very little negative you can say about it so far. Is it literally
not much in it?
It's exactly the same, isn't it?
29, exactly 29 degrees of launch. Yeah, it's within 19 RPMs of spin.
Huh.
I think what we are seeing, which is interesting, look at the carry distance on yours, 16, 15, 18, 18.
Yep.
Lots of awareness with the club. 17, 14, 22. So the average doesn't represent the performance. So if we go to the compare page, look at the blue circle.
Yeah.
The dispersion got wider. That would be exactly what I would expect to happen on that one. So your consistency of your delivery, not so much the dynamics of what's going on, you know, a higher spin shaft, a lower spin shaft, not so much that.
But speed.
It's more just you're able to replicate the right swing because you have a right feel for the weight, for the timing.
So this may be not the best fit for me, but a lighter wedge shaft is good for someone who just doesn't swing quite as fast, helps them get a bit more out of it.
The reality is this wedge shaft would be given to someone who's probably playing a 90, 85, 95, 100 gram iron shaft.
So it balances well with their set.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's when we would normally use this. Not for the guy, we normally wouldn't come down in weight, we would normally go up slightly in weight. Obviously, when we're choking up in the club, which we like to in wedge shots, so if we're playing bunker shots, mass is always our friend to create a little bit more, a little bit more speed.
Gotcha.
So most people think it's the opposite. Most people think light creates more speed.
Right.
Actually, if you time something better, you'll actually speed up.
So it's more about getting the balance of it right.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit that 80 yarder with this one?
Yeah, let's do that. That's pretty high quality there. 28, just shy 9,000 spin.
Exact same launch angle though, pretty much. So it's not like we're seeing a lighter shaft bending a whole lot differently or presenting different amounts of lofts at this point.
That was different.
Yeah, I didn't catch that great. Yeah, maybe just
I'm seeing exactly the same thing. You're struggling with your ability to replicate the right speed required to get the distance. The strike point is moving around the head a little bit.
Right.
So again, just for me, just reinforces everything we always say about the performance of shafts and what they're designed to do and replicate delivery, consistency of delivery. This is for me is real validation for that. Okay.
It's good to see that is different because then the person who suits a lighter shaft will have the opposite kind of effect. They'll probably find that their consistency is in fact better.
Yeah.
Strike point is more consistent as well.
Definitely.
Okay, so what do you want to try next?
Let's go one step up.
LZ.
All right, Matty, so stepping back up towards what we consider to be full swing territory for you with the wedge.
It just left the face open a bit.
Just a fraction. Struck nicely.
That's better. It's a little thin. Oh,
you lost 3 yards on the thin one though. That's all.
3, okay.
Yeah. What we'll see is see 2 more, but I think what we're going to see is your numbers really come back to being quite consistent again with this one.
Less so with the short one and the long one kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right around 114.
It definitely seems to be regulating. I'm trying not to think about how hard I'm hitting them, but that just happens to be coming out at that speed every time around.
If you look at that, so 114, okay, we deleted the 110, slightly mishit, but well struck. Your launch and spin are really, really fine. There's not really one that's better than the other here. There's not a launch and spin we're trying to get.
No.
We want consistency.
Yeah.
Is really what we're searching for. Okay, one more and then we'll go down to 80. How do you feel with this?
I don't mind it. I think it's getting more back into familiar territory, I guess, balance-wise. It still feels a hair light.
I like the LZ as a wedge shaft, I have to say.
One,
softer midsection, a little bit easier just to kind of load it. It doesn't feel too stiff if you're swinging less than full.
If someone has Project X in the irons, do you often fit them to this?
A lot of the time, yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
How's that one?
Just really thin. The result was fine, I guess.
Yeah, result was pretty good. Was that just a hair thin?
Yeah, felt like more than a hair, but
Interesting.
wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was a good result. Really nice flight. Better. Well, we know this club goes 114.
Yeah, this is definitely the 114 club, isn't it?
All right, let's shorten that up. That's a lovely looking,
Oh, that's the one.
lovely looking little wedge shot there. 27.9, spins up just shy 9,000, flew it pretty much the whole way.
That was completely different contact. That was more of a drop kicky one.
Okay.
Swung a little faster, but that's pretty good.
It's okay, yep.
I think the bit more weight makes that shot, I guess, a little bit easier to play.
Do you feel like that? So you
Think so.
find a bigger difference when you hit partial shots, maybe?
Probably.
Okay.
Now, the lightest shaft hitting full swings, I did get the jumpy one that went 5 or 6
Yeah,
yards.
you had that one there as well, didn't you?
So that definitely was a big change. Yeah, this feels nice for a partial one for sure.
There you go.
That's the one.
Money.
Zip.
Good. Okay. As expected, better than the 105.
Yeah, a little bit more suitable.
Easier for you to do what you do with that one. Okay, last but not least, and probably the one that will feel closest to home for you.
Yep, almost the same weight.
Yeah, yep.
I swung at
nice.
that a bit faster for some reason, but there's 29 and 11,000 again. What's crazy to me is getting the same launch and spin even with balls that are going different distances.
It's good, isn't it?
It's craziness. Because that's almost exactly the same and it went 4 or 5 yards shorter because the face was open. That one probably spun a bit more. It felt a groove low.
Yeah, done exactly as you thought.
Give you one more. It's definitely not that the lighter, more flexible shafts are giving more spin. If anything, the spin is very slightly higher with this.
Just exactly what it is. Your spin is definitely spiked up on those last few. We've regulated speed nicely.
Yeah.
Um,
So the delivered loss were all pretty similar?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So we're really not even seeing any physical difference in how the head is being presented. It's more just where the ball is getting struck at times and the speed at which it's being hit.
That's right. So the Vokey, your 54 was averaging 117 carry. The lightest shaft was 118, but it was jumpy. 114, 117, 122.
Yep.
115 on the LZ 6.0, and then this one's back at 115. So,
Yep.
you know, this for you is your 115, 116 club, something
I'll
right
hit
about that.
Yep.
You're right there. You're absolutely right there. Yeah, you're spinning the S400. You know, if you want to kind of be very, very picky about it, you're spinning that one the highest.
Yeah, which is the complete opposite of what I think most people are doing when they're shopping for wedge shafts, is they're thinking, let me go super light and soft because I'll spin it more.
Yeah.
In fact, you probably will make, higher face contact? Is that what I was potentially doing? We're talking about 200 RPMs, but
Yeah. I think it's
nothing
just,
in it, right?
very little is happening here dynamically that's making a huge difference. I think you're just timing.
Yeah.
You know, the delivery a little different.
Interesting. All right, couple partials with this guy.
S400 there.
that.
Very nice.
It's probably the best 2 partials I've hit in a row, I would say. Yeah.
Make that 3.
So I'm finding this is easier to hit about 80 to 83 yards with.
80-ish. Look at your strikes really gathered into a nice spot there.
It's interesting. I like how this test is shaking up because it's kind of throwing out the launch and spin differences, but it's so obvious that one of these shafts I would play better golf with than the other. That's what it's coming down to. You'd hit more greens, you'd be pin high more often. That's what you're trying to do with wedges.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's it. Influencing the player to make a better swing.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Good.
Different, isn't it?
I like that, yeah.
So for the, you guys watching this, and what you can sort of take from it is, if you haven't already done the experimentation to establish what your preferences, that type of thing are, you should really go out and do that and try some different shafts and do a little bit of test and see what allows you to be the most consistent.
Definitely.
That's probably what we're looking at.
There'll be players where the 130 gram range feels way too heavy and kind of feel like work to swing and you won't be consistent, and then maybe the 105 will be right in your wheelhouse, or maybe you have 110 gram, you have 115 grams. Go somewhere where you can try them all.
Definitely.
It should be, I don't think, would you say you don't have to be like an amazing player to try a bunch of different wedge shafts and have an experience like that?
This all comes back down to the old question of, is custom fitting really for me?
Yeah.
The reality is, going into a store, if you're swinging driver at 80 miles an hour and wedge at 68 miles an hour, going into a store and picking up a club that has an S400 or an S200 is absolutely not doing yourself justice or giving you the best opportunity to play well. So I think that's what this is showing, is that don't accept the stock parts that they're going to be the best for you. You have to look at each individual element, whether that's a reduced taper grip that allows you to grip down that club and be comfortable with how it feels. Is that the weight? Is it the balance? All those sorts of things. Is it the lie angle? Knowing exactly. I mean, I've saw so many wedge fits in the last 6 months where altering the lie angle away from what the lie angle is on the rest of the set has helped a player be incredibly consistent on the wedges. It absolutely does not have to match what the set is.
So it could be upright or flat.
It's its own discipline.
Cool.
You may stand closer to it. You may swing with less violence, therefore not raise the handle as much. Your delivery will impact what is kind of happening at the moment of truth.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's its own discipline and its own fitting. And
that's the reason why you do it a different session, is strictly for wedges, because they do react differently.
Yeah.
So can we look just quickly at how similar those numbers were? Because I know people will be curious to see them all sitting beside each other. So were they all? Oh my. Okay, so the launch angle was literally exactly the same.
Look at that.
That's insane.
This is wild.
Even though I tended to swing a little faster with one because it was lighter, and exactly the same launch angle and spin numbers within 200 RPMs, which on a golf course there's no way in hell you could tell the difference at 200
wild.
RPMs, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. So don't go and think that you're going to get spinny shafts or less spinny shafts when you're wedges, because it's just not the case.
It's not the case. Well, if you go over to the table, look at the spin on the full shot. So the LZ, well, go to yours first. So 11,093. We go to the Nippon, same, right? 11,074. 100 more with the LZ.
Yeah.
I think we left the face the most open in that one. That's just a loft deal.
Yep.
Okay, so that's nothing that
even
the club
still,
is
it's
doing.
not even enough to make a difference.
No. You definitely got the most spin with the S400. You jumped up another 400-ish RPMs with that one.
So
and
something. But again, that's the heaviest and stiffest shaft.
Yep.
So that wouldn't be what someone would expect either.
No, definitely would be counterintuitive to what people think. Let's go to the partial shots. Always very interesting. Here's something, and I noticed that at the time, the S400 launched slightly higher.
Huh.
Spun the most, but actually launched the most as well.
Interesting.
which I thought was very interesting, observing it at the time.
And it was pretty consistent too.
I mean, it just looked to me like you struggled a little bit more with the lighter weight stuff.
For sure. You look at the elongation of that dispersion circle, and it's very short or long.
Yeah.
And then you look at the other weights. Mine obviously seems to have the smallest circle, which you could argue is, I'm obviously comfortable with that club, but it was flying a very consistent distance.
Yeah.
So was the heavier shaft. There's a difference to be made in your distance control and how well you strike it, but there's certainly no difference to be made in how much you spin and how much you launch it.
No, you're not going to find a magical 2,000 RPMs of extra spin.
And that's what it would take to actually matter, like at least 1,000, you would say, on a. You're better off changing your golf ball.
You're better off getting fitted for the wedges, so you make the cleanest, best contact, most consistent flight, then matching the ball to that performance. Right. That's the way you'll get the optimal sort of launch and spin.
Use a Kirkland or something if you really need to zip it, or a Chrome Soft or whatever.
If you're somebody who just rips them back off the green, AVX, Z-Star, XV. Those sort of firmer golf balls are great for that sort of thing. So, probably debunking a few kind of myths here about what wedge shafts do and don't do.
But it's in line with, I think, how you've debunked other shaft myths that yes, they have a massive effect on results, but not in the same way that people think.
Yeah. You're not getting a fix from the shaft per se.
Gotcha.
You have to just get it dialed in so it's the right one for you.
Okay, so interesting test. Obviously, there'll be many more wedge videos to come over the next 6 to 12 months as we get into the season.
Yep.
Probably something we'll start integrating into some wedge testing videos where we'll have the interchangeable heads. But I think this was a good initial experiment, kind of get people's minds clear about how shafts are influencing a wedge fitting.
Definitely.
And now we sort of have the basis to go forward and kind of get into it further.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to where we can go with this. I really want to do a video with different types of players to show you guys that your 60-degree wedge isn't always your highest spinning club.
Okay.
Depending on how you deliver the golf club, you can actually spin. You could potentially spin 54, 55, 56 higher than 58, 59 or 60, depending on how you deliver it. All these sorts of things we want to get into and we will do over the course of the season. Hopefully just letting you guys know that the whole purpose of this is to show you how valuable the fitting process is. And kind of what you can get out of that, what you can gain in performance from the process.
Definitely.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting, yeah.
Okay, lots more on this to come. This is going to develop into its own mini-series, which I love. So many ideas spawn from these tests. You guys are probably going to leave comments that allow us to do a mini-series based on this. So let us know what you think, and we'll be sure to react to those with the videos that are coming out in the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
Good. Excellent, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.